Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Christmas starts here at H&L Rapid True Value. Get Christmas ready by shopping the latest in our catalog. The time brought to you by H&L Rapid True Value is...
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is...
30 degrees in capital city Kingston and 28 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Dana Davey.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the driver involved in the fatal crash in Clarendon this morning is nabbed at Norman Manley International Airport, attempting to flee the country.
We were able to intercept the driver trying to flee the island at the airport, and so he's now in our custody.
Mayor of Maypen, Councillor Joel Williams, paints a gruesome picture of the deadly scene.
I was appalled to see the kids lying on the ground. When you look at the vehicle and see how they were crushed, you can imagine the speed that they were going.
And MP for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, laments the tragedy which he stressed need not have happened.
340 people killed in road crashes across the country so far this year.
JCF and Indicom probing involvement of on-duty policemen in an altercation at a popular party over the weekend.
In news from the rest of the world, the Dominican Republic have launched an investigation into the suspected poisoning of 26 Haitians, including 2 children.
White House defends presidential pardon of Hunter Biden amid backlash.
In headline sports, coach of the Reggae Girls, Hubert Busby, wants to see Jamaica move up the FIFA rankings.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story, at 5:35, tragedy hits Lennon High School in North Central Clarendon as 2 of its students are killed in a motor vehicle crash this morning. We'll hear from the Member of Parliament, Robert Morgan, and the head of PSTEB, Assistant Commissioner, Gary McKenzie.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what is your reaction to the unemployment rate falling to 3.6%? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, following Monday's tragic accident in Clarendon, what are the government's plan for a rural student transport system? Transport Minister Darrell Vaz and Chairman of the Transport Authority, Owen Ellington, will tell us.
And at 7, the White House has defended President Joe Biden's pardon of his son Hunter after repeatedly insisting he had no plans to grant such executive clemency. You'll hear more.
All these and more as we take you home on air, on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, December 2, 2024.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The driver allegedly responsible for a fatal crash that left 2 Lennon High School students dead on the Bustamante Highway in Clarendon this morning has been taken into police custody. He was caught by the police while attempting to flee the island from Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. Siobhan Campbell reports.
Tragedy has struck Lennon High School in Clarendon after 2 of its students died in a motor vehicle crash in the vicinity of Folger Road in the parish this morning. It's understood that several other students were injured in the crash. One is in critical condition. The driver believed responsible for the crash is a 34-year-old man. Head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, told Cliff Hughes Online that the man was picked up at the Norman Manley International Airport as he attempted to flee the country.
The driver fled the scene, and based on the information and intelligence that we unearthed, we were able to intercept the driver trying to flee the island at the airport. And so he's now in our custody.
You mean Norman Manley?
That is so.
That was quick.
It was very quick, but we are very happy that our systems and communication are at the superior level where we were able to do the appropriate tracking so that we could have him before he fled the country.
Reports are that the crash involved a Subaru Impreza being operated as an illegal taxi and a Toyota Probox motorcar. The crash happened approximately 200 meters east of the Bustamante Highway's intersection with Folger Road. According to ACP Mackenzie, the driver who was operating an illegal taxi was attempting to evade law enforcement when he collided with a truck.
What happened is that this particular Subaru motorcar was observed appearing to operating without a road license. That is PPV. I understand that the vehicle was stopped. The driver did not stop and went on to drive away. The police gave pursuit, however, based on the manner of driving, they discontinued the pursuit and they began to inform other police patrols of the vehicle that was heading towards Yorktown direction, which is along Bustamante Highway. A few minutes later, it was gleaned by way of communication that the vehicle had crashed.
It's understood that the vehicle was then knocked into the path of an oncoming car.
When the police officers went there, they actually observed that the Subaru motorcar was overturned and it was actually in a collision with a Toyota Probox motorcar. Based on the indication, it appears that the Subaru motorcar, whilst traveling along the roadway, collided with the rear of a medium truck, was displaced to the right of the roadway into the path of the Toyota Probox motorcar, and as a result of that collision, it overturned and caused injury to its occupant.
Meanwhile, it's understood that the vehicle being operated as an illegal taxi was not owned by the driver. Further allegations are that the vehicle was being operated with expired insurance. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
In the meantime, Mayor of Maypen, Councillor Joel Williams, who visited the location, painted a gruesome picture of the deadly scene. Listeners are being advised that the following clip contains details they may find disturbing.
When I went on the scene this morning, I was appalled to see the kids lying on the ground. When you look at the vehicle and see how they were crushed, you can imagine the speed that they were going. One of the things that struck me this morning was when the tow truck came to pick up the cars. I saw blood coming from one of the cars. When I asked the firefighter what was happening there, he said it was the marrow of one of the kids that were on the back seat, and then the fire truck had to come to wash off the blood from off the road. It was an awful scene.
Mayor Williams is urging motorists to reduce their speed, especially during the Christmas season.
I use the opportunity to appeal to the drivers carrying school children or carrying passengers just to be patient, because I didn't see the reason for any driver to be speeding along that Bustamante Highway there this morning. Going forward into the Christmas season and beyond, just be patient, tone down, and utilize the road in a very respectful way.
Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen.
And Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, is expressing condolences to the families and Lennon High School amid this morning's tragic incident. Speaking with Nationwide News, Mr. Morgan says he spent the day supporting the families and visiting the injured students.
It's a really sad day. I was at the hospital with the parents of the one who succumbed. I was also at the school where we had an exercise with the ministry and principals and guidance counselors. There were principals and guidance counselors from all over the region. The regional representatives were there from the Ministry of Education just to give support to the parents, the students, the loved ones there. It's a really tragic time for our students at Lennon High School, and also for the parents who lost. One of the parents comes from Newborn, which is in the constituency of Minister Charles Jr. He would have spoken to her while she was at the hospital. One comes from Sutton, which is in my constituency. She's a constituent that I know. I would have engaged with her I mean, we just need the support of everyone. We need their prayers. We need their comfort in this really tragic time.
He says he cannot begin to imagine the pain and anguish their parents are enduring. Mr. Morgan commended the Ministry of Education for promptly activating its grief counseling unit, which is providing much-needed emotional and psychological support to the school community. He says this is a tragedy that need not have happened.
I just want to put out an appeal to everyone to be careful on the roads. This is a very tragic incident that never needed to happen. And we must all just be conscious of not just ourselves, but also other road users, so we can all reach home alive to our families.
Robert Morgan, MP for North Central Clarendon and the Minister with responsibility for works.
In the meantime, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says a presentation of the proposed rural school bus system will be brought before Cabinet on Monday. The minister says the tragedy has left the families of the deceased students, their school community, and the entire nation grieving. He says reckless driving, speeding, and non-compliance with road safety regulations put lives at risk.
I'm truly devastated at the news of the loss of 2 students' lives this morning in Maypen, along with several others being injured. This is happening too frequently, and it is definitely a major issue for me. I will be bringing to Cabinet on Monday a presentation for the proposed school bus transport system for students. On Monday, I get further directives from Cabinet, at which point I will make public what the next steps are. But it remains a very serious priority for me, as every day that is not implemented, the lives are at risk based on the transport methods.
Darrell Vaz, Transport Minister. He's also reminding PPV drivers of their road safety responsibility when transporting passengers. Meanwhile, the Transport Authority says along with the police, they've launched investigations into the incident and a team from its investigative unit has been dispatched. The authority is again urging the commuting public to choose only legal public passenger vehicles as their mode of transportation.
And the opposition People's National Party has described Monday's fatal crash as a national tragedy. Its spokesman on transport, Michael Phillips, says the incident is a stark reminder of the urgent need for an effective rural student transport system.
This highlights the urgent need to address Jamaica's student transportation crisis. We cannot continue to witness these recurring tragedies involving students. A comprehensive, lasting solution is overdue to safeguard our children, especially in rural areas where the risks are greater. We are reaffirming our commitment to advocating for stronger measures to protect students and other vulnerable road users.
He is urging motorists to comply with the Road Traffic Act.
Today is a somber reminder of the shared responsibility we all bear to ensure road safety. I urge all road users to strictly follow the Road Traffic Act and its regulations, particularly during the busy Christmas season when our road usage is at a peak.
Michael Phillips, the opposition spokesman on transport.
And more than 300 people have been killed in road crashes across the country since the start of the year. The Island Traffic Authority reports that 340 people were killed in road crashes between January 1 and December 2. But according to the authority, road fatalities are trending down. It says 393 people were killed in road crashes during the corresponding period last year. That's 53 more people than those killed this year. That's a 13% decline. There were 294 road collisions recorded for the period, representing a 17% decline. Motorcyclists continue to lead the number of road fatalities, with 114 killed since January. Pedestrians follow with 62 killed since the start of the year. The authority says 4 parishes account for 53% of the road fatalities. They are St. Catherine, Westmoreland, St. Andrew, and St. Anne. The authority says the main infractions were speeding, failure to keep to the proper traffic lane, and pedestrians walking out or standing in the roadway.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston and 28 out west in Montego Bay.
It's time! Shocks Depot is having a pre-Christmas clearance sale with massive discounts on all shocks and struts for all vehicles. Installation and wheel alignment available, plus warranty on all shocks and struts. Contact or visit Shocks Depot at 79 Hagley Park Road. Telephone 876-649-0238 and call or WhatsApp 876-509-0076. Shocks Depot. Our products are durable, comfortable, and affordable.
Continuing the news, the Police High Command says a probe has been launched by the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, into an altercation on the weekend at a popular party involving off-duty members of the JCF. Shalois Michael reports.
Several individuals were reportedly beaten by security personnel during popular dancer Rebel's birthday party at Mass Camp on Saturday. The altercation, which was caught on video, involved the TikTokers TJ and Moya, who were reportedly injured in the assault. Music promoter Ramesh Major has been blamed for at least one of the beatings that took place. Major has since issued a public apology for the incident. However, the matter has taken another turn as the security personnel involved in the beating are said to be off-duty policemen. The JCF High Command says it only became aware of the incident and the reported connection after it was raised publicly by a talk show host. It says an internal investigation was launched through its Inspectorate Professional Standards Oversight Bureau IPROBE to determine the facts. But the High Command noted that the matter has since become the subject of an investigation by INDECOM. It says the JCF has handed over all relevant information to INDECOM and will fully cooperate with their investigation. The High Command says it takes these allegations seriously and reiterates its commitment to transparency and accountability. It says there have been no delays in the JCF's response as action was taken immediately upon the matter being brought to its attention. The High Command says it will not comment further on the case at this time. The High Command sought to clarify that the JCF permits members to engage in private service, commonly referred to as extra work, under strict guidelines outlined in the force orders. It says any misconduct or breach of policy is treated with the utmost seriousness. The High Command says any member found in breach of JCF policies or the law will be held accountable. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
4 persons have been arrested, including the main suspect, in connection with the assault of a 15-year-old student from Hopewell High School in Hanover. One of the suspects was arrested on Thursday, while the other suspects were arrested on Friday. They are scheduled to appear in the Lucy Family Court tomorrow, Tuesday, December 3. The search is still ongoing for the other persons involved in the incident. The public was made aware of this incident due to a viral video posted on TikTok. The video showed the 15-year-old boy being surrounded by other male students. One of the students, who was wearing a face mask, can be seen positioning the boy's head before slapping him in the face. As the boy cried out and attempted to cover his face with his hands, the students involved pulled his hands away from his face. The students proceeded to slap him repeatedly despite his cries for them to stop. The boy then crouched down, only to be punched and kicked repeatedly.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Police in the Dominican Republic have launched an investigation into the suspected poisoning of 26 Haitians, including 2 children. The group was allegedly poisoned after drinking fruit juice while working on a farm in the Dominican Republic. It's reported that shortly after consuming the juice, the group experienced severe symptoms, including vomiting and dizziness, prompting an emergency transfer to the hospital. The hospital's director confirmed the incident and reported that the patients exhibited symptoms consistent with poisoning. Emergency treatment was provided upon their arrival. The police say a probe has been launched into the source of the poisoning, including how the juice was prepared and whether it contained toxic substances. The cause of the incident remains unclear as officials work to determine the substance responsible for the contamination.
The White House has defended President Joe Biden's pardon of his son Hunter after repeatedly insisting he had no plans to grant such executive clemency. The White House press secretary said Biden had pardoned his son, who was facing sentencing later this month in 2 federal cases, to shield him from potential persecution by the outgoing president's political foes. The sweeping pardon covers any potential federal crimes that 54-year-old Hunter may have committed over the course of a decade. Republicans have criticized the move, with President-elect Donald Trump calling it an abuse and miscarriage of justice. The Democratic president issued the pardon on Sunday evening before heading off on an official trip to Africa. In June, Hunter Biden became the first child of a sitting U.S. president to be criminally convicted after a jury in Delaware found him guilty of 3 charges for lying about his drug use on a form when buying a handgun. In September, he also pleaded guilty to federal tax charges that included failure to file and pay his taxes, tax evasion, and filing a false return.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour. The driver involved in the fatal crash in Clarendon this morning nabbed at Norman Manley International Airport as he attempted to flee the country.
We were able to intercept the driver trying to flee the island at the airport, and so he's now in our custody.
Mayor of Maypen, Councillor Joel Williams, paints a gruesome picture of the deadly scene.
I was appalled to see the kids lying on the ground. When you look at the vehicle and see how they were crushed, you can imagine the speed that they were going.
And the MP for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, laments the tragedy, which he stressed need not have happened.
340 people killed in road crashes across the country so far this year.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Dana Davey.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
It's the
Answers Grand Prix Christmas Bonanza Sale. Get up to 50% off when you claim your discount at Answers Gifts and Home and Answers for Children. Answers Grand Prix Christmas Bonanza Sale. Now on till Saturday, December 14.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Good afternoon. With your sports report, I am Alric Swaby. We bowl things off with some cricket as, batting a second time, Bangladesh, with a lead of 211, reached 193 for 5 at Stumps on day 3 of the second test against the West Indies at Sabina Park. Jacob Ali, 29, and Tajul Islam, 9, are the not-out batsmen. Earlier, the Windies were bowled out for 146 in their first innings. Casey Carthy made 40 and Captain Craig Brathwaite 39. Nahid Rana had figures of 5 for 6 to 1. Scores in the match so far: Bangladesh 164 and 193 for 5, West Indies 146. Cricket West Indies CWI announced the 15-man squad selected for the West Indies men's CG United One-Day International Home Series against Bangladesh. Dubbed the West Indies Home for Christmas Series, the 3-match encounter will be played at Warner Park in St Kitts and Nevis from December 8 to 12. There are 2 changes from the squad, which defeated England 2-1 in the rivalry series, with all-rounder Justin Greaves and wicketkeeper batter Amir Jangu replacing Hayden Walsh Jr. and Joel Anjo, respectively. During this period, Anjo will join a cohort of emerging regional batters in India to attend a batting camp at the Chennai Academy, concentrating on batting in spinning conditions. Greaves, who brings good all-round ability, is back in the squad following his splendid run of form in the CG United Super 50 competition, where he notched a record 3 consecutive List A centuries as well as a magnificent maiden test century against Bangladesh. Jangu also earned selection following a prolific Super 50 season, where he topped the scoring chart with 446 runs in 7 innings. Shea Hope will lead the team with Brandon King as his deputy. Now on to footballers. The Montego Bay Complex in Catherine Hall will come alive when Jamaica's national senior women's football team take on South Africa in the second of 2 friendly internationals this evening at 7:30. The Reggae Girls won the first match 3-0. Coach of the Reggae Girls, Hubert Busby, says winning is not their only goal. He says they want to move up the FIFA rankings.
The FIFA rankings, sometimes are a little bit not really an indication of where everything is, but they are important when it comes down to seeding and doing some other things as well. So especially when it comes to CONCACAF competitions and World Cup qualifiers, so they are really, really important from that aspect. And then even in terms of sometimes with players getting the necessary points that they need to get into the requisite leagues around the world that they would want to play in. So we take every match seriously. We take every match with the ability that we want to win.
Hubert Busby. Now, General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dennis Chung, says they'll be finding new avenues to improve the revenues of the federation. Chung says they have decided to monetize their YouTube channel. He believes this will also help the federation to connect with the fans.
The YouTube channel that we already have in place, we would activate that. So, but what it does also, it allows us obviously to earn income on a sustainable basis, because we will be looking at charging an affordable fee per event and also subscription, which everyone is doing. But it also means that it will allow us to connect with our fan base, which is very important to us.
Dennis Chung. Now to Netball's Vice President of Netball Jamaica, Simone Forbes, is already predicting a huge support from local fans when the Sunshine Girls host South Africa at the National Indoor Sports Centre next year. The last time the two teams faced each other in a test series was during a Tri-Nation series in Jamaica 2 years ago, which also featured Trinidad and Tobago. The Sunshine Girls secured a 67-49 victory over South Africa when they faced off in the World Cup held in South Africa from July to August 2023. The win was particularly sweet revenge for the Sunshine Girls, as they had been defeated 55-52 by the Portuguese in the 2019 World Cup in England. Forbes says the supporters contributed to the girls clinching the recent 4-match series against England Roses 2-1 and believes this will be repeated against the South Africans.
This is how we support our ladies and our gentlemen, our athletes. And so it really was electrifying, and just the vibe and the energy in the NISC was unmatched. And this is what we were hoping for, and this is what the ladies got, and this is what we're hoping will be repeated and replicated come January when they face the South African national netball team inside the NISC on Saturdays. So it should be interesting to see, the supporters out, and I'm sure we're going to see a full venue again. It's not on a Saturday, and it's just how much Jamaicans love the Sunshine Girls.
Simone Forbes, I'm Alex Raby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you. The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
I don't have no time for whole heap of paperwork. That's why I downloaded and signed up for my One JN Passport app. Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The temperature by the One JN Passport app is
29 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 28 in Montego Bay.
Here at Azan Super Center, you can fill your Christmas list.
It's a Christmas to remember. Get ready for Azan Super Center's Super Sale. From now until Christmas, experience the sale event of the season with incredible savings and super deals. Come get your decorations, lights, gifts, and all the best items for your Christmas party. Why ship when you can shop at Azan Super Center? Our sale is on, so why wait for freight?
So this Christmas, make it Azan Super Center for sure.
It's a lifestyle.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GeoLand Title Limited. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates, first-time registration land surveys also included, affordable rates and flexible payment options. NLA adjudication and land titling waivers also available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. GeoLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
It's time! Shocks Depot is having a pre-Christmas clearance sale with massive discounts on all shocks and struts for all vehicles. Installation and wheel alignment available, plus warranty on all shocks and struts. Contact or visit Shocks Depot at 79 Hagley Park Road. Telephone 876-649-0238 and call or WhatsApp 876-509-0076. Shocks Depot. Our products are durable, comfortable, and affordable.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Tune
in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really Cliff Hughes talking?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Cliff Hughes really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Good afternoon. It's all about what's happening now as we take you home inside Nationwide at 5. It's 5:35 and I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell. Been a while, Mr. Hughes.
Been a while. Well, in our cover story this afternoon, the driver allegedly responsible for a fatal crash that left 2 Lennon High School students dead on the Bustamante Highway in Clarendon this morning is in police custody at this hour. He was caught by the police as he attempted to flee the island from Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston.
Tragedy struck the high school in Clarendon after 2 of its students died in a motor vehicle crash in the vicinity of Fogo Road in the parish. It's understood that several other students were injured in the crash and one is in critical condition. The driver believed responsible for the crash is a 34-year-old man.
Head of the JCS Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner Gary McKenzie, told Cliff Hughes Online that the man was picked up at the Norman Manley International Airport as he attempted to flee the island.
The driver fled the scene, and based on the information and intelligence that we unearthed, we were able to intercept the driver trying to flee the island at the airport. And so he's now in our custody.
You mean Norman Manley?
That is so.
That was quick.
It was very quick, but we are very happy that our systems and communication are at the superior level where we were able to do the appropriate tracking so that we could have him before he fled the country.
ACP Gary McKenzie, head of PSTEB. Reports said that the crash involved a Subaru Impreza being operated as an illegal taxi on a Toyota Probox motor car. The crash happened at approximately 200 meters east of the Bustamante Highway's intersection with Fogo Road.
According to ACP McKenzie, the driver who was operating an illegal taxi was attempting to evade law enforcement when he collided with a truck. It's understood that the vehicle was then knocked into the path of an oncoming car. Meanwhile, it's understood that the vehicle being operated as an illegal taxi was not owned by the driver, and further allegations are that the vehicle was being operated with an expired insurance.
Well, joining us to discuss this morning's fatal crash, we have the Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, the President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, Linvan Wright, and a little later we're going to be joined by ACP Gary McKenzie. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon, Vern, and to your listeners. Good afternoon as well. Siobhan.
Good
afternoon, Mr. Morgan and Mr. Wright.
Let me begin with you, Mr. Morgan. A number of those involved are from your constituency. Lennon is in your constituency. Any further update over the last hour or two, in particular, that student who was said to be in critical condition? Any update on him?
Well, we know that he was in surgery. He has some really serious injuries to his head and to his body. And the doctors were very serious about their appraisal of him, so they had to rush him to surgery today when I was at the hospital. I have not yet gotten an update as to what the outcome of the surgery is, and as soon as I do, I can make you aware.
Yes. And in terms of the two students who are dead, one boy, one girl, and the impact on the school community, we have been trying to get a member of the staff there, and they told us that simply they just can't manage to speak about it this afternoon because it has taken a terrible toll on them.
Remember, this is a very deep rural school. Everybody there is like family. I mean, I'm a part of the family. The teachers treat these children as if they're their own children because a lot of them come from various sections of Clarendon, and they spend most of their time with these teachers and with their students. When I was there today, I mean, you could not describe the sadness that was children hanging off the railings, holding down their heads, teachers openly crying. I mean, I feel it for the teacher who was actually first on the scene, how she's going to cope with that. But the principal has been very strong. She was at the hospital with me, greeting every single loved one who came. You know, we were able to talk to the two parents who lost their child. We were able to talk to the parent whose child was in surgery. And Miss Powell, I don't know how she does it. I mean, she was able to stand up and just deal with that. I mean, I broke down, to be honest with you, Cliff. I couldn't manage it.
Linvern Wright, this another tragedy such as this, it brings home the need for a student transport system, does it not?
I think there's only need for us to be just more careful nationally with how we're driving. There's a need for the student transport system, but it's clearly an act of carelessness. You know, people just weren't doing the kinds of things they're supposed to do on the road, knowing that other persons are using it. And yes, we need a student transport system, but I think if we all are not careful, the transport system itself, because it could be someone is driving like that and hit a government provided or a provided transport system if a person. So it's just a matter of a sense of carelessness and wantonness on our roads, you know, which is a part of the general indiscipline that we just have to cauterize somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it.
You know, Linvern Wright, you have put your fingers on it, because we can have a rural bus transport system tomorrow morning, but if we do not improve on our driving, then the carnage will continue. And Robert Morgan, you're the legislator here. There was a caller this morning who said to me, you know, it's time we make the punishment more severe. You break the Traffic Act, the state must seize your vehicle for good. Don't get it back, you know.
But Cliff, I mean, you can say that now, but remember when the government suggested that 2 years ago, the entire country, the transport sector, all the stakeholders, it was almost as if there were pitchforks and axes. So when these things happen, and we have an illegal taxi that has no insurance based on the reports, and it causes the death of 2 children, we're going to come on radio. Everybody's going to be outraged. But when the government tries to put in these measures, when we put in the new ticketing system, that if you're driving without a driver's license, if you're driving a vehicle that is uninsured, or if we are attaching the tickets to the vehicle, there's a lot of resistance, and a government cannot legislate without public support. A government that legislates without public support is a dictatorship. So there's a lot of work that needs to take place in terms of public education. We do have a good Road Traffic Act. I mean, it does have its flaws, but generally it's a good Road Traffic Act, and the police have been equipped with these e-ticketing machines and so on. But there has to be a cultural shift within our society as it relates to how public transportation operators, whether they're illegal or illegal, function. The type of weapons of mass destruction that we see running along our roads, people, passengers and drivers have to know to upgrade. Look at it, yeah, we're 10% down on road accidents, but we had one in Veer the night before where 2 died. One is in a coma, a child is in a coma, university students. We had another one in my constituency where somebody was overtaken, hit a man off a bike, he died on the spot. So yes, we have done a lot of work in road traffic safety, but we're still having too many reckless drivers on the road, putting not just themselves at risk, but their passengers and pedestrians. And legislation alone cannot help, which is why I'm happy that Minister Vaz is working on a proper long-term public behavior change campaign that he's working on to help with that. Because I could put in as many laws, Minister Vaz could put in 1 million laws. If you don't get the behavior change, Cliff, it is not going to solve the problem.
But how do we induce that
Let's go to the break and come back. Hold it for us, gentlemen, and we're hoping to be joined by ACP Mackenzie when we come back from the break.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
15 minutes to 6.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature, brought to you by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The #1 choice for label printing is
29 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Deposit we have insurance. It's an account that come with assurance. Let me teach you why it's important to have deposit insurance. Just in case your bank crash dead, no need to put your hands by your head. Up to 1.2 million you get for all accounts that's affected. Yeah, one room you can start it, or throw a house party. Pay your mortgage with ease. JDIC is a smart win. Deposits we bring safety. JDIC them protect me. Bank and billing society protected. The flow you must get with. Protect your savings smart. We urging you to call me. Guarantee you need us. We take banking serious.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Mazda is bringing the magic this Christmas. Get a 2-year service package, 1 year free insurance, license, registration, and free window tinting, plus 3 months of payments on us. But hurry, deal ends December 31. Conditions apply. Mazda, more style, more value, more smiles per mile.
12 minutes going up to 6 o'clock. Just before we go back to the incident which left 2 students of Lennon High School dead, we're getting reports, just got it from a very authoritative source. There was trouble in Spanish Town this afternoon. Just over half an hour ago, we are hearing a number of persons got shot, right, on Young Street in the old capital, Spanish Town. And as a source said to me, man come for man, and the man them come for was armed, and they started firing at each other. The town is upside down right now, and you see we have footage there of a police barricade on Young Street, we gather, Young Street in the old capital, yeah. So people are being advised to take the bypass, yes, because it's going to be impossible to get through the town anytime soon. It is being reported to us that one man is dead as a result of the shooting. It happened shortly before 5 this afternoon. And as I said, a well-placed source said to me via WhatsApp, man come for man. And the man them come for was armed. And they started firing at each other. Yeah. Do we have ACP Mackenzie on the line? I wonder if he knows anything about this. ACP Mackenzie, do you know anything about this shooting in Spanish Town?
I am not sufficiently briefed on it, please.
Oh, okay. Sufficiently, but you have been aware. You've been made aware.
I have been made aware, but not sufficiently briefed.
To tell me anything beyond what I'm reporting?
No, sir.
Okay, understood.
ACP, on the matter of the crash this morning in Clarendon, I did check with you earlier regarding whether the vehicle in question, the Subaru Impreza, if it was owned by another individual and whether it was properly insured. Were you able to verify that information?
Yes, I was able to verify. It is owned by a female and it was not properly insured at the time.
Oh dear.
When you say not properly insured, what do you mean?
Meaning that, well, I shouldn't say that. I should say that it was not insured. It was expired. The insurance was expired.
This is for the Subaru?
That is so.
Wow. And you did also tell us earlier that you were going to check the records of the 34-year-old suspect you nabbed at Norman Manley shortly before noon today. Have you been able to do that so far?
Yes, sir. We did do that, and he did not have any outstanding tickets or warrants.
He had none outstanding?
He had none.
Okay. Yeah. So what else can you tell us about what happened this morning, ACP Mackenzie?
Well, what I can tell you is that we have a motorist who decided to operate a vehicle which was not insured as a public passenger vehicle. He was stopped by a joint operations team, police and transport authorities. He did not stop. An attempt was made to stop him, and based on the manner of driving that he was doing, it was seen fit to take the information of the vehicle, summon other team persons, even while efforts were initially made to stop him. And so he sped away. Unfortunately, the police were alerted to a crash. And they discovered that it was the same vehicle that had crashed. Mm-hmm. The driver somehow was not injured to the extent that he was on the scene, and he refused to stay on the scene or turn up at the police station, but instead fled the scene. And about 2 hours after, based on our systems and communications, he was able to be nabbed at the Norman Manley Airport, apparently attempting to leave the island.
Mm-hmm.
ACP, to what extent is the owner of the vehicle culpable for what has happened?
Yes, certainly for the documentation, the owner of the vehicle would be culpable. And if it is borne out that the owner of the vehicle employed this person to operate the vehicle as a public passenger vehicle without a requisite license, that the owner would also be culpable for that.
ACP, what is the policy if the Transport Authority, the police, as was the case this morning, identify a motorist who is in breach of the Road Traffic Act, goes in pursuit? At what point do you cease pursuing the vehicle, and on what circumstances are your men trained and women trained not to further chase?
So there are 2 reasons why a pursuit would be discontinued. One, if the person was caught up with and the vehicle stopped. And two, if the person was driving in such a manner that they are actually going away in a dangerous manner and it was deemed to be unsafe for other members of the public and the pursuit team themselves. And all efforts were made to have contingencies at various points to see if we can actually stop that vehicle, which has been done on many occasions.
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of what happened this morning, what was applied? Is it that what happened this morning? They discontinued chasing the vehicle, or what?
Yes, that was what happened. Is that the vehicle was stopped within the township, and so the vehicle sped out of the township. Initially, the team responded by driving after this vehicle, and then the driver started to overtake numerous vehicles at a fast pace, which the pursuit vehicle, the driver did not follow based on that. And efforts were then being made to circulate the information in terms of the vehicle moving away. And as a result of that, the vehicle was not followed.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after, because this happened within minutes, shortly after there was a report of a crash along the Bustamante Highway in the vicinity of Foga Road, when it was revealed that this vehicle, the said vehicle, that there was an attempt to stop minutes ago, had crashed.
Mm-hmm. So this was a vehicle of the Subaru?
That was the Subaru motor car.
And that was the vehicle the 4 students were in?
That is correct.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But you know, Cliff, there is
yes.
this argument going around as if to blame the transport authority. No, I am not employed to the transport authority. But based on what the officer is saying, they were not in pursuit of the vehicle at the time of the crash. And I just want members of the public to be very careful of the speculation going around crashes. And let us not remove the blame for the accident from the man who was driving recklessly without insurance.
Yes.
Illegally on top of that.
Right. The persons who are responsible for illegal activities should be held accountable. Mm-hmm. If the state had acted inappropriately, yes, hold the state accountable. But the children who have suffered today will not be able to get any justice from an insurance company because there's a car that was driving contrary to its license and wasn't even insured.
Yes.
But Minister, before that, you had spoken about the need or the attempt to induce behavioral change in the motoring public. Then, if not through punishment and stiffer fines, how do we go about that inducement?
It has to be a balance. You have to have a robust legislative framework, giving the PSTEB and the various arms of the state the legislative backing to hold persons who operate illegally accountable. But you also need to give the people who are operating the training and also their passengers and pedestrians the training about how to use the road, about their rights and responsibilities. A big part of the challenge that we're having in Jamaica is that there are many persons who do not either have forgotten or may not have been aware of what the rules of the road are and what are the consequences of disobeying the rules of the road. And it is our responsibility as a government, and I know Minister Val is working on a program to have a more robust educational behavior change regime to assist our motorists in understanding. But that doesn't negate the need for very strong measures. And Chris, I think this accident should say to us, whenever the police pull over somebody who is driving contrary to their license, and there are some persons in our society say, yo, I want to poor you to try hustle and make some money. This is the consequence of it, Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the consequence of it.
Before
we need to stop supporting the illegality.
Quite right. Linvan Wright from the Principals Association. Have you been able to reach out to your colleagues at Lennon yet? And more specifically, how are rural schools having to contend with this problem of a lack of a reliable, safe public transport system?
It's not good. Punctuality is really a serious problem in rural schools. I mean, if you check rural school performance versus schools in urban areas, it's a problem. Our students have to travel so far, so many things that we have to look at. But I just want to say one thing quickly, Cliff, just to complement what the minister said. One of the things that maybe is an elephant in the room that we're talking about in Jamaica, I mean, our people really don't drive for the license. It's an open secret that many people don't drive for the license in Jamaica. And to talk, it's not just about legislation.
They buy it.
It cannot be that in such a small country this is happening. You look at how many cars have come into the country over how many years. Are we seeing that number of learner drivers on the road during traffic to do that? But we see many new cars and new drivers, right? We have to talk about this because the training we talk about is training that has to be done from the initial stages of driving.
Yes.
When you're starting out, what is it that happens? But there are people who it's just a kind of willy-nilly thing and then they're on the road in a car and it matters.
It's not a willy-nilly thing, Mr. Principal. It is a business where you buy your license. That is it. It's a business.
We have to have conversations and minister, that is something that has to be caught right. It cannot be difficult to get those things sorted out.
And may I suggest, Principal Wright, the schools can play a critical role. I've often said on this program for several years, no child should be graduating from a secondary high school in Jamaica at 17 without an earned, valid driver's license. In today's world, I know some schools are doing it, but not enough.
I said no issues with that, but I'm just also saying that there are too many stories of people who have gone through those processes, whether at school or wherever, and simply because people just want to ensure that it is paid for, then they have to, then they just feel discouraged about the whole thing. We have to set up the system in such a way that people who are honest about wanting to do it well are given a fair chance. That is it, and a part of the problem is just that the bad habit is that people can just pay for a blind eye to be turned to bad habits. We have got to stop that.
Linvan Wright, you have the last word. ACP Gary McKenzie, thank you very much. MP, North Central Clarendon, the Minister with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
You're most welcome. You're on everything.
That's a cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Save fast and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening. With the headlines at 6, I'm Nora Gay Banton. The driver allegedly responsible for a fatal crash that left 2 Lennon High School students dead on the Bustamante Highway in Clarendon this morning has been taken into police custody. He was caught by police while attempting to flee the island from Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston.
Tragedy struck this morning at the school after 2 of its students died in a motor vehicle crash in the vicinity of Fogel Road in the parish. It's understood that several other students were injured in the crash. One is in critical condition. The driver, believed responsible for the crash, is a 34-year-old man. Head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, told Cliff Hughes Online that the man was picked up at the Norman Manley International Airport as he attempted to flee the country.
The driver fled the scene, and based on the information and intelligence that we unearthed, we were able to intercept the driver trying to flee the island at the airport. And so he's now in our custody.
You mean Norman Manley?
That is so.
That was quick.
It was very quick, but we are very happy that our systems and communication are at the superior level where we were able to do the appropriate tracking so that we could have him before he fled the country.
Reports are that the crash involved a Subaru Impreza being operated as an illegal taxi and a Toyota Probox motorcar. The crash happened approximately 200 meters east of the Bustamante Highway's intersection with Fogel Road. According to ACP McKenzie, the driver, who was operating an illegal taxi, was attempting to evade law enforcement when he collided with a truck.
What happened is that this particular Subaru motorcar was observed appearing to operating without a road license. That is PPV. I understand that the vehicle was stopped. The driver did not stop and went on to drive away. The police gave pursuit. However, based on the manner of driving, they discontinued the pursuit and they began to inform other police patrols of the vehicle that was heading towards Yorktown direction, which is along Bustamante Highway. A few minutes later, it was gleaned by way of communication that the vehicle had crashed.
Head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner Gary McKenzie. Mayor of Maypen, Councillor Joel Williams, who visited the location, painted a gruesome picture of the deadly scene. Listeners are being advised that the following clip contains details they may find disturbing.
When I went on the scene this morning, I was appalled to see the kids lying on the ground. When you look at the vehicle and see how they were crushed, you can imagine the speed that they were going. One of the things that struck me this morning was when the tow truck came to pick up the cars. I saw blood coming from one of the cars. When I asked the firefighter what was happening there, he said it was the marrow of one of the kids that were on the back seat, and then the fire truck had to come to wash off the blood from off the road. It was an awful scene.
Mayor Williams is urging motorists to reduce their speed, especially during the Christmas season.
I use the opportunity to appeal to the drivers carrying school children or carrying passengers just to be patient, because I didn't see the reason for any driver to be speeding along that Bustamante Highway there this morning. Going forward into the Christmas season and beyond, just be patient, tone down, and utilize the road in a very respectful way.
Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen. And MP for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, is expressing condolences to the families and Lennon High School amid this morning's tragic accident. Speaking with Nationwide News on Monday, Mr. Morgan says he spent the day supporting the families and visiting the injured students.
It's a really sad day. I was at the hospital with the parents of the one who succumbed. I was also at the school where we had an exercise with the ministry and principals and guidance counselors. There were principals and guidance counselors from all over the region. The regional representatives were there from the Ministry of Education just to give support to the parents, the students, the loved ones there. It's a really tragic time for our students at Lennon High School, and also for the parents who lost. One of the parents comes from New Boyne, which is in the constituency of Minister Charles Jr. He would have spoken to her while she was at the hospital. One comes from Sutton, which is in my constituency. She's a constituent that I know. I would have engaged with her. I mean, we just need the support of everyone. We need their prayers. We need their comfort in this really tragic time.
He says he cannot imagine the pain and anguish their parents are enduring. Mr. Morgan commended the Ministry of Education for promptly activating its grief counseling unit, which is providing much-needed emotional and psychological support to the school community. He says this is a tragedy that need not have happened.
I just want to put out an appeal to everyone to be careful on the roads. This is a very tragic incident that never needed to happen. And we must all just be conscious of not just ourselves, but also other road users, so we can all reach home alive to our families.
Robert Morgan, Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon and Minister with Responsibility for Works. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay. Banton Sports is next.
Make yourself comfortable in authentic Hanes underwear. Nothing beats the never out of style ultra soft 100% premium cotton Hanes underwear. Hanes Comfort Fit V, crew neck and A shirts, absorbent Hanes socks, Comfort Flex Hanes boxer briefs for men, and stylish itch-free Hanes underwear for women and kids. Make yourself comfortable this holiday season, inside, out, and underneath with Hanes underwear for that cool all-day comfort everyone deserves.
I only have Hanes for you.
KFC festive feast for the holidays. Full of power with my friends and my family. KFC bucket of the flavor. Something for everybody, time for we celebrate. 12 piece of chicken so delicious. Fries, biscuits, coleslaw, mashed potatoes, and the Pepsi. Crunch the holiday with KFC. It's the festive feast for you and
Crunch the holidays with the KFC festive feast. 12 pieces of delicious chicken, sides, and a 2-liter Pepsi. Try our new KFC dessert biscuits. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alric Swiby. We bowl things off with some cricket as, batting a second time, Bangladesh with a lead of 211 reached 193 for 5 at stumps on day 3 of the second test against the West Indies at Sabina Park. Jacob Ali, 29, and Tajul Islam, 9, are the not-out batsmen. Earlier, the Windies were bowled out for 146 in their first innings. Casey Carthy made 40 and Captain Craig Brathwaite 39. Nahid Rana had figures of 5 for 6 to 1. Scores in the match so far: Bangladesh 164 and 193 for 5, West Indies 146. Justin Greaves says the Caribbean side could have done better with the bat.
I honestly think it's still pretty much in the balance. Obviously we didn't go well with the bat today, but the way how the guys came out and fought in the second innings with the ball not doing as much, but I still think the game is pretty much in the balance. Not sure there are many challenges. If you look back at some of the dismissals, we can say that some of them were a bit soft, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to come better in the second innings.
Justin Greaves. Cricket West Indies CWI announced the 15-man squad selected for the West Indies Men's CG United One-Day International Home Series against Bangladesh. Dubbed the West Indies home for the Christmas series, the 3-match encounter will be played at Warner Park in St Kitts and Nevis from December 8 to 12. There are 2 changes from the squad, which defeated England 2-1 in the rivalry series, with all-rounder Justin Greaves and wicket-keeper batter Admir Jangu replacing Hayden Walsh Jr. and Joel Anjo respectively. During this period, Anjo will join a cohort of emerging regional batters in India to attend a batting camp at the Chennai Academy, concentrating on batting in spinning conditions. Greaves, who brings good all-round ability, is back in the squad following his splendid run of form in the CG United Super 50 competition, where he notched a record 3 consecutive List A centuries as well as a magnificent maiden test century against Bangladesh. Jangu also earned selection following a prolific Super 50 season where he topped the scoring chart with 446 runs in 7 innings. Shea Hope will lead the team with Brandon King as his deputy. The other members of the squad are Casey Carty, Ruston Chase, Matthew Ford, Shimon Hetmeyer, Alzara Joseph, and Shamar Joseph. Evan Lewis, Gudakesh Moti, Shafeen Rutherford, Jaden Seals, and Romario Shepard are also in the squad. The Montego Bay Complex in Kathleen Hall will come alive when Jamaica's national senior women's football team take on South Africa in the second of 2 friendly internationals this evening at 7:30. The Reggae Girls won the first match 3-0. Coach of the Reggae Girls, Hubert Busby, says winning is not their only goal. He says they want to move up the FIFA rankings.
The FIFA rankings, sometimes are a little bit not really an indication of where everything is, but they are important when it comes down to seeding and doing some other things as well. So especially when it comes to CONCACAF competitions and World Cup qualifiers, so they are really, really important from that aspect. And then even in terms of sometimes with players getting the necessary points that they need to get into the requisite leagues around the world that they would want to play in. So we take every match seriously. We take every match with the ability that we want to win.
Hubert Busby. General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dennis Chung, says they'll be finding new avenues to improve the revenues of the federation. Chung says they have decided to monetize their YouTube channel. He believes this will also help the federation to connect with the fans.
The YouTube channel that we already have in place, we would activate that. But what it does also, it allows us obviously to earn income on a sustainable basis, because we will be looking at charging an affordable fee per event and also subscription, which everyone is doing. But it also means that it will allow us to connect with our fan base, which is very important to us.
Dennis Chung. Now at Sports Time, Harbourview and Vale United were locked at 0-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Ray and Never Jamaica Premier League at the Dewsland Stadium. In the second match, home team Waterhouse will take on Arnett Gardens. And to Netballers, Vice President of Netball Jamaica, Simone Forbes, is already predicting a huge support from local fans when the Sunshine Girls host South Africa at the National Indoor Sports Centre next year. The last time the two teams faced each other in a test series was during a Tri-Nation series in Jamaica 2 years ago, which also featured Trinidad and Tobago. The Sunshine Girls secured a 67-49 victory over South Africa when they faced off in the World Cup held in South Africa from July to August 2023. This win was particularly sweet revenge for the Sunshine Girls, as they had been defeated 55-52 by the Proteas in the 2019 World Cup in England. Forbes says the supporters contributed to the girls clinching the recent 4-match series against England Roses 2-1 and believes this will be repeated against the South Africans.
This is how we support our ladies and our gentlemen, or athletes. And so it really was electrifying, and just the vibe and the energy in the NISC was unmatched. And this is what we were hoping for, and this is what the ladies got, and this is what we're hoping will be repeated and replicated come January when they face the South African national netball team inside the NISC on Saturdays. So it should be interesting to see, the supporters out, and I'm sure we're going to see a full venue again. It's not on a Saturday, and it's just how much Jamaicans love the Sunshine Girls.
Simone Forbes. Homewood will contest both the junior and the senior finals of the Issa High School netball competitions. Manchester booked their place in the under-16 final after beating Mile Gully 21-14 in semi-final 1, while Homewood stopped Stitchfield 41-18 in semi-final 2. Meanwhile, in semi-final 1 of the under-19s, Denby beat Manchester 41-30, while Homewood defeated Glenmore 39-33. Now to rugby, as Jamaica's male and female under-20 rugby teams will make a historic appearance at the Junior Pan American Games in Paraguay from August 9 to 23, 2025. The Jamaicans booked their place on the plane to Paraguay after the senior men's and women's teams' podium finishes at the recent Rugby America's North 7 in Trinidad and Tobago. The women's team finished second, while the men picked up third. Manager of Jamaica's team, Bruce Martin, says the association will be doing everything in their power to ensure the teams are prepared for the tournament.
We have 15 aside going to Mexico, the national team going to Mexico next weekend. What we did, we placed quite a few of our under 20 girls locally. We placed a couple of them in the team to go over with the senior team to get that experience. For January coming, we have an international tournament at the Spanish Town Prison Oval, where we have Cayman Island coming in, Detroit Tradesmen Cup team from overseas coming in. So we will be entering our under 20 boys and girls in that senior tournament so they can get playing time together. And, in April, we'll try to take them to Tampa Bay, Florida, and the Tropical Sevens to get more playing time leading up to the Pan American Games.
Bruce Martin. And finally, in squash, Shanyana Nalapati and Bruce Burrows were crowned female and male champions of the inaugural Jamaica Invitational Squash Tournament at the Ligani Club on the weekend. Second seed Burrows beat the number 1 seed Ashanti Smith 11-1, 11-5, 11-4 to lift the men's title. The women's category was played in a round-robin format, with Nalapati emerging the winning after finishing the tournament undefeated. I'm Alex Riby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Me grew up as my granny save her money under her mattress.
But at an all-time something, that's where I save my money in the bank. And become a one buy a little house, but also save in a building society. We have to be smart with how we save our money.
So what if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in. Make I tell you something. With the JDIC Deposit Insurance Scheme, once you save your money in a commercial bank, merchant bank, or building society, your deposit is covered up to a maximum of $1.2 million per depositor per financial institution if the institution fails. All the information that you need is available at jdic.org, and you can follow their social media platform for more information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The most spectacular urine sale is back at IQ Optical. Get up to 75% on optical frames and sunglasses in December. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
6:21.
Calling all tradesmen, small contractors, skilled workmen, and small entrepreneurs. Whether you want to start or expand your business or get equipment for your projects, Total Tools will help you tool up and expand your business. Get up to $500,000 to borrow, up to 2 years to repay, and interest rates as low as 3.99%. Come for your loan to get your tools. Offer ends June 2025. Visit Total Tools in Kingston, Ocho Rios, and Drex Hall to get a loan for every tool and every trade.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Siobhan Campbell. A special good evening to our friends on YouTube, and we invite you also to weigh in live with your comments on today's topic, and that is Jamaica's unemployment rate is at an all-time record low of 3.6% as of July 2024. That's according to the latest information provided by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, and this is lower than the rate previously recorded at the end of April of 4.2% and represents a historic low for the country. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking, what is your reaction to the unemployment rate falling to 3.6%? On Facebook, Philip Jackson says, it matters not the reality of the facts that is staring us in the face. We will have spinners to spin it to do discredit such great achievements to suit their narratives. And he says political journals. Maury MacArthur says, great job by the JLP administration. Keep it up, Prime Minister Andrew wholeness. Winston says, this tells me two things. One, the PNP wasn't doing anything to cushion the effects of the hardships faced by the Jamaican people. And two, this JLP government cares about the well-being of the Jamaican people. And we have Michelle Bernard who says, encouraging news. Over on Twitter, we have Andre Lawrence who says, I can't believe this is Jamaica. The unemployment rate falling to 3.6% is a promising sign of growth. The environment is fertile for business, supported by strong government policies. It's now up to individuals, especially the remaining 3.6%, to take initiative, pursue employment, and contribute further to economic progress. A thriving workforce benefits us all. That is quite a mouthful. Graham Jervis says, basically full employment. This is unheard of. Any form of employment is better than no employment. I am sure the naysayers will nitpick at the definition of employment, but if it's the same as previous definitions, then it's record breaking. And we have My Tech Pride who says, this is good. Hopefully the Jamaican people can see it at all levels of their livelihood. Oh, okay. And now over to your comments on YouTube. What we have Kinyouth Mullings who's saying, good government. This shows that the government has good managers. Iron Lady said, then how me see so many idle men a walk street every day in a Tivoli and Denham town. Lowen Thompson says, every time something bad happens, government make a lot of talk. 9 days after, all forgotten. I'm assuming she's referring to the incident that happened in Clarendon, that unfortunate fatal crash. Let's see, anybody else on the matter of the public opinion? We have... here we have Iron. It's then a true them account pushcart men as employed people. I'm not sure about that one, Iron Lady. I'd have to look into that. Loxley Miller says, good move by the JLP government. The country is going in the right direction. We have David Nabar who says the same thing. Good government. Sabrina Grant says, thanks to the governing Jamaica Labour Party for their dedication to the economy. Linda Ming, where the narrative come from that the people not feeling it. People working must feel it. We have Christopher Bowen saying good news for Jamaica. We have Neville V, never heard of full employment and there is no growth, mostly unproductive jobs. Well, the definition of productivity, you might be right on the spot there, Neville, in terms of the contribution of the individual to the GDP, whether employed or not. We have Only Facts. Big up Prime Minister Holness. He's doing a good job. A great job. Big up, big up. Brick Road says, you know what, Staten needs to recalibrate. Imagine people wiping windshields and they're employed. Man, tie some mangoes and go a street. We have David Neighbor saying, big up the Jamaica Labour Party. And Diaz Agza saying, a round of applause for this government, 100%. And Radley Boy at Chevron, did Staten give any indication of whether or not these are sustainable jobs? Well, the formula used to calculate employment exists on Staten's website, and it has been adjusted as of 2024, differentiating it from what came in prior at 2023 and back. And I think the new model gives quite a breakdown in terms of the varying different forms of employment, including underemployment is now a statistic that Staten tracks. We have Wilbert Davis saying our government is doing a great job. Prosperity is spreading among Jamaicans. Primrose says, big up PM Andrew Holness. And that's what we have so far over on YouTube. I will see if there are any more comments coming in. But 3.6%, I believe, below the 5% mark is what is considered full employment. And I believe at this level, it means there's specifically something like 60,000 Jamaicans who are still within the labor force looking for employment but have not found thus. And you have to wonder, what can we do to increase or find work for specifically 60,000 Jamaicans? Is it the type of job that they're looking for, the quality of pay that they don't find appealing enough, or is it simply that they're unable to find work? I would be interested to see what that breakdown is. We have Albert Lewis over on YouTube saying, great, those who want to work will find work, and that's good news. The quality of jobs is what concerns me somewhat. However, this is progress. And I support that. When people talk about the quality of jobs, I mean, I don't know how true it is whether windshield wipers and such are actually counted in the unemployment figure. That's something I'm going to have to check with Statin. But I mean, as someone once said, when I started out my professional career, I think I started something like $15,000 a month just working that. And to me, that $15,000 was a blessing, because before that I had nothing to support myself and nothing to take home. So even if it's just a small amount of money, I think just the ability to take home something to support yourself, a lot of Jamaicans would be considered, be considered a blessing by them, including those 60,000 people who are still unable to find employment. Anybody else from YouTube? We see Natalie Higginson saying stand firm for the third term relating to the unemployment figures. Linda Ming says what is used to measure the rate of employment is not set by the government of Jamaica. They use the standard measurement which is used worldwide, which is accurate, and that measurement, as I said, changed in 2024, but it remains a worldwide standard. And as they say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And in this instant case, if you had any problem with how unemployment is tracked in Jamaica, now you should have had a problem with how it was tracked 10, 16, 20 years ago. There's no reason to suggest that when the unemployment rate was running at 8% and we were concerned, or then now it's at 3.6%, we have to now question the formula that's used. It's really pointless. But that's it for Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for weighing in with your opinions. I am Siobhan Campbell.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The time by IQ Optical is
6:30.
Good evening and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Shalois Michael. Dave Morrison has been appointed CEO of Advantage General Insurance. The appointment became effective on December 1. He's a chartered accountant with more than 20 years' experience. The boss of car-making giant Stellantis, Carlos Tavares, has quit with immediate effect following a boardroom clash. His abrupt exit from the company comes 2 months after Stellantis issued a profit warning. Last week, the firm also announced plans to close its Vauxhall van-making factory in Luton, putting about 1,100 jobs at risk. And finally, in the currency markets, the Jamaican dollar opened selling for an average $157.02 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican dollar opened selling for $113.03 against the Canadian dollar. And the Jamaican dollar opened at $201.09 against the British pound. That's the business report. I'm Shalois Michael. Good evening.
You Unique Living's new arrivals are here. Revamp your space with sleek, fixed and sliding show panels, shower systems and faucets, stylish vanities, basins and kitchen sinks, closet and storage solutions, hanging aids, and more. Available in different finishes and sizes to match your style. Visit them today and transform your space at shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit their website at uniquelivingja.com to shop.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really clip you, Stalky?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Benjamin. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Clip News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Dive into a holistic healing symphony with Dr. Denise Daly as she explores the incredible healing potential of the Nature's Remedies. Starting January 9 at 2024, Nationwide at 5 hosts the Nature's Remedies from 7 to 8 p.m. every Tuesday. The segment bestows a plethora of organic wellness wisdom onto all listeners. If you're uncomfortable with popping all those pills, then embark on this natural journey and discover how the Nature's Remedies can help. Tune in for the facts that will transform your perspective on herbal solutions and natural therapies. That's Nature's Remedies, every Tuesday during Nationwide at 5 from 7 to 8 p.m. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Are Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. Welcome to the Nation's Business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening. I'm Cliff Hughes.
We turn now to the matter of a rural school transport system. Transport Minister Darrell Vass says a presentation of the proposed rural school bus system will be brought before Cabinet on Monday. His comments come after two students of Lennon High School in Clarendon were killed in a motor vehicle collision on Monday morning. The incident also left several other students injured, and one is in critical condition.
The Transport Minister says the tragedy has left the families of the dead students, their school community and the entire country grieving. He says reckless driving, speeding and non-compliance with road safety regulations put lives at risk.
I'm truly devastated at the news of the loss of two students' lives this morning in Maypen, along with several others being injured. This is happening too frequently, and it is definitely a major issue for me. I will be bringing to Cabinet on Monday a presentation for the proposed school bus transport system for students. On Monday, I'm get further directives from Cabinet, at which point I will make public what the next steps are. But it remains a very serious priority for me, as every day that is not implemented, the lives are at risk based on the transport methods.
That is Transport Minister Darrell Vass. He joins us now, as well as the Chairman of the Transport Authority, Owen Ellington. Mr. Vass says Mr. Ellington will be leading the initiative. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Listeners, my sympathies go out again personally and on behalf of the government in relation to the tragic incident today with the loss of two students' lives, and it is becoming too often that we are seeing these incidents, especially related to school children.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Ellington,
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening
to your listeners. And
Yes.
I too express my sympathy to the families, friends, colleagues of those who lost their lives.
Yes. Tell me, let me begin with you, Minister Vaz. Even if we were to put in a rural bus transportation system tomorrow morning, this will not solve the problem of the dangerous and reckless driving we're seeing all over the world, all over the country.
Absolutely not. That is a major issue, and that's a systemic issue that has been getting worse for years, if not decades. But we have to isolate to see how we can protect the children in order for them to have a safe and reliable mechanism of transportation, especially in the rural areas. It is a little easier in the corporate area and Spanish Town because obviously of the improvements in the bus system that we're making, but the concern is obviously the rural areas. And obviously, we say bus system, but obviously it won't be a bus system. It's a transport system that we're trying to put together. The major elephant in the room, Cliff, is the subsidy. Because every model that we have worked is billions of dollars of subsidy that would be required. Even although we'll be using a public-private partnership and we'll be using a cashless system so that the accountability and transparency would be there. But we have worked, Owen has been working assiduously with the steering committee and the transport authority to see what models we can come up with. We have one or two now that we have proposed. I've had preliminary discussions with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Education, and we're going to go to Cabinet on Monday to make that presentation. But again, as I said before, there will be need for subsidy so that persons who are transporting these children will be getting a fair price and be able to carry them in a safe and orderly manner.
Yes.
Owen, you want to give them just an overview of the model that we have now, without obviously.
Okay. Within the KMTR, the transportation of students is highly subsidized. Per trip, it's $20. For adults, it's the maximum $50. And urban commuters benefit from the JUTC service with some sub-franchise services, but the JUTC in particular has been seeing increased seat capacity with the infusion of well over 170 new buses in less than 2 years. So the only real impediment to seamless on-time bus service for the KMTR is no, it's traffic congestion, but that is being worked on. With the rural areas, the service is largely provided by private investors who are, by way of policy, required to charge no more than a certain approved fare. And many of these persons complain that it's not an economic fare. And therefore, in order to enhance revenue and remain in business and perhaps even survive, there is this intense competition amongst them for passengers or to cycle their trips. As many trips as they can make at that low fare, they expect that they will earn something. And compounding that problem is the fact that in the rural parts, quite unlike in urban settings, most of the vehicles involved in mass transit transfer of commuters are small vehicles, cars, minibuses, etc.
Hold it there for us, Mr. Ellington, because I want you to put some of the numbers you're talking about in context.
Yeah.
You said in the KMTR, the subsidized fare for kids, $20, and for
$20, yes.
And for adults, 100, or is it 50?
At its maximum on
Okay.
the JU.
Okay, so where the children are concerned at $20, what should be the economic fare? Because I want to establish the subsidy that the state is being asked to carry.
When we crunch our numbers based on seat capacity and the load factor and the number of passengers that are moved each year, and we compare that with our operating costs and economic fare for the JUTC, meaning we'll break even and perhaps make $1. It's $350 per trip.
Wow.
So the fare is heavily subsidized.
So if we were to charge commuters the real economic cost to move a child, it would be $350, not $20.
To move a passenger.
And this is for the KMTR?
Hold on. To move a passenger.
Yeah.
$350 from the KMTR. And they're now paying $50.
Adults pay $50, children pay $20, and there is a concessionary fare in between of $25 for the elderly, infirm commuters.
So the subsidy is running at 700% what the commuter is being asked to pay.
The subsidy is very high.
Now, extrapolate that to the rurals. What would be the cost there versus the subsidy?
But don't forget to add that there's about 300,000 rural students, and about 80,000 of them are on the PASS program, which means that they get
an additional subsidy.
Additional subsidy through the schools. I'm not quite sure if that is actually working as best as it should be working. So we're taking that into consideration as well to see what pool of funds that is and how we can better direct it in terms of the revamping of a rural transportation system for the kids.
Yeah, that is correct. That subsidy, if rolled into a larger pool of funds, might be able to provide some form of a subsidy, fair subsidy, beginning with children in rural areas. And it could either be full subsidy or partial subsidy. Those are the numbers to be worked out. And again, gentlemen, bear in mind that not every child would need this kind of assistance, because there are some children whose parents transport them. There are some who live within walking distance of school, but then there are others who live very far from school and have to transfer 2-3 vehicles per trip, either going to school or going home. So that kind of analysis, that kind of assessment to determine the level of need and the level of subsidy required by each child would have to be done, but it can be done.
I am just bowled over by the gap in terms of the economic fear that we have to meet, because this is at the root of all the problems we're seeing in public transport.
And
you cannot override the economics. And this is why you see the hustling mentality, the rampant indiscipline, the reckless driving, because if you're not getting not even 10% or just about 10% of the economic fear, that's why the hustle and the criminality is.
Please, let me be clear here.
Yes.
The fare structure that I told you about applies to the JUTC in the KMTR.
Yes.
That subsidy that we are talking about, it doesn't apply in the same way to the private operators.
But Mr. Ellington, we still
let him finish. Develop the point for me. Yeah. So
the private operators, even within the KMTR, they charge a higher fare than the JUT.
So the gap is nowhere as large as it is for the state sector.
Absolutely not. No.
What is the gap like in the private public passenger private operators?
That I would have to do some consultation on, but I can tell you, even without the benefit of research, that it's much narrower than it is with the JUTC.
If my
so
memory
the
serves me
operators
correct,
are closer to market price.
If my memory serves me correct, Cliff, the document that I saw recently showed a household spend across rural Jamaica of about $8 billion annually on transportation to access primary and secondary education. So it's a significant amount. But again, the end all and be all, as somebody who who has a little background in the transport. The fact is that if you're not profitable, then you're spinning wheels, you're wasting time. And that's what we have to find a way in terms of anything that we implement to make sure that the operators are turning a profit. If not, you won't get the success that you want in terms of getting these kids in a safe and orderly manner to and from school.
Yes.
And what does that do? That just keeps us behind the 8 ball, and they're not learning properly because of the trauma of going to school and coming back and the hours that they're on the road, etc., etc. And we end up the same way we have been for decades in terms of our literacy output. So it's a challenge, I must tell you. It's really, it's an easy thing to say that we're going to implement a rural transportation system for kids. But when you look at all the variables and the cost to do it properly, it's a challenge. But I'm committed 100%. I represent a rural constituency. I know it inside out. I have a mentorship program that I have to subsidize kids that are doing well in school, just basic, and the fact that they just can't afford it, can't afford the transportation.
Minister Vaz, remind me, was not a rural transport system piloted in Clarendon specifically, if I recall, under Robert Montague? What happened to that program?
Well, the fact of the matter is that there may have been a pilot. I don't know what came of that in terms of the final report in terms of how it performed. But the fact is that at this point in time, a pilot is impatient of delivery. It has to be something that we can do and get the private sector and the existing assets to be able to come on board in an economical way, a structured way, a transparent way, a accountable way, and roll it out as quickly as possible. And that's where I am. A pilot is all well and good, but at this stage, with the loss of lives of kids on the road and the trauma of what they go through every day, every day that we don't, it's putting Jamaica back years.
I understand you suggesting that you're trying to adopt a cashless system for this private public.
Has to be cashless. The only way for accountability and to make sure that whatever subsidy government is putting forward is to make sure that it is done in a way that cannot be diverted and cannot be used for anything else other than what it is designed for. And that's where technology comes in. And that's easy. That technology platform is there, dime a dozen. And the fact of the matter is that it can be implemented. That's not the problem. The problem is the subsidy, and to make sure that the assets that we're using and the operators that we're using buy into the program and know that it's not business as usual in terms of what transpires on the road every day.
But that is what concerns me, Minister, is how do you convince these private operators to buy into a cashless system when they want their money, so to speak?
No, man. The cashless system is only to facilitate accountability and transparency. The swipe of a card is money for them. There's no delay in that. But that has to be a part of it. If not, it won't work. It will be, of course, as we call it in Jamaica, they will find a way to beat the system, and the delivery of the service will not be there, and the funds will be expended. So it's not the issue of the technology and how does the operator get his money on time. That's not the issue. The issue is the subsidy that's going to be required, the how we formulate the methodology for the implementation to make sure that the subsidy is the minimum and gives you the maximum. Because if you look at the numbers, what we have seen in terms of the different models that we have done is billions. Oh, and what's the high and the low based on the model?
I think it's about 12 at the high and anywhere between 6 and 8 at the low, depending on the level of subsidy that may be considered.
So that's $6 to $12 billion.
Yeah.
And this is for the implementation of the rural transport system, additional to what the JUTC already takes in terms of subsidy.
Rural transportation fare subsidy, which is going to be the incentive that drives the rural transportation system.
So
the question is, and it's something that I have put to my colleagues in cabinet, when you are spending X amount of money on road infrastructure, water, healthcare, and all the other services, and you look at the amount of money, what is the line item in terms of a dollar figure that you can put for transportation for education? It must be at least in the top 3 priority of any government. Yes, we all want good roads. Yes, we all want good hospital service. Yes, we want everything good. But if you don't have that basic transportation system for the young and the middle-aged kids that are going to school to graduate, to take this country further and become leaders in the future,
so
what price do you put on that?
So you'll be taking this to cabinet on Monday, yes?
So we have presented to the Ministry of Finance. We have presented to the Ministry of Education because obviously those are 2 key. The one is the funding, and the other one obviously is the schools that are benefiting. So the Transport Minister can't do this in isolation. There is an absolute acceptance of the concept. It is the inner workings as to how to execute it in a way that can be sustained by the government. And that is where we are now. But on Monday, the presentation will be made to the wider cabinet. And, of course, we get their input in terms of suggestions. I know last time I spoke to the PM, he had some suggestions as well. And that's why he wanted it to come so that we could explore it more. But we are committed to it. Absolutely 100. But it's not a one-day wonder. This is something that has to be properly put together to make sure that when you implement it, it is workable and it's doable and workable.
First question, do you have the fiscal space to get this done over, let us say, 3 to 5 years?
There you go. So it won't, obviously, it may not be able to be rolled out across all parishes, but if we have a plan to start and have a plan to finish, then I can accept that. But we have to start, and we have to start now. And that's where I am. I don't know who will be there at the end of the time. That's not my issue now. My issue is I have a responsibility that this is now a crisis. This is now this cannot continue. Not based on what we have seen just in the last 3 months, in the amount of children that we have lost, the amount of people that we have lost on the road, lives that we have lost on the road. But it starts obviously with the school children, and the adults can make their decisions as to how they decide to their mode of transportation and risk attached with it. But we owe it as a country. We owe it to the youngsters to provide them with a reasonable, reliable, safe transport for school children.
We gotta leave it there. It's a big, big ask, and this ain't gonna happen in the next year or 2.
If I start it and somebody else finish it, I'm happy. But the bottom line is, the line is drawn in the sand. This cannot continue. Cannot continue to wake up every morning and hear about these lives that have been lost because of carelessness. If you lose your life because of just reason, I can understand it. But children can't leave innocently to go to school and end up injured or dead. And it is all because they have no other choice of how they get to school. Can't be. That's not right. Not right.
Yes, sir.
Not right.
Daryl Vaz, go ahead.
No. You know me already.
Daryl Vaz.
That's my commitment. That's
yes,
all I can do. I can't say that I'll finish it, but I'm going to start it.
Transport Authority Chairman, one last one for you. What is the policy if there's an incident and your officers have to give chase to a motorist who is breaking the law? What is the policy that they're to adhere to?
There is no policy that supports chasing or high-speed chasing on the roadways. There is in the JCF what is known as a pursuit policy, and that is done in a very calculated manner at all times, avoiding actions which may put the lives of the officers or any other person at risk.
So just to make it clear,
just before you come in, Minister, before you come in, Minister, Mr. Ellington, when you say no pursuit policy,
no policy that endorses high-speed chase. You use the word chase. There is, in fact, a pursuit policy which can be carried out at slow speed. It can be carried out in a static manner with communications to units that are ahead of where the fleeing unit is heading. But for quite a long time now, the JCF, as I know it, has been against the practice of high-speed chase. And in the case of the Transport Authority, we basically mimic what the JCF does, no high-speed chase.
Minister?
No, I'm just saying that, the rumor mill was alive and well today, that there was a chase involved, etc., etc. Nothing of the sort. As a matter of fact, the illegal Subaru actually hit into a truck that hit into the PPV vehicle that was involved in the accident. And the fact of the matter is that I have reiterated today to the chairman and to the managing director of Transport Authority that zero tolerance in relation to anybody in the Transport Authority that does that carries out that kind of action. It's not necessary. A PPV, you know the number, you have all the information in your office. There's no need to pursue. You can take whatever action you want after the fact based on technology and based on the fact that you have the information.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much, Daryl Vaz, the Minister of Transport.
You'll hear more from me on the rural school bus.
And the Chairman of the Transport Authority, Owen Ellington. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
You're welcome, sir.
Good. This is Nationwide at 5.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Payroll made simple and secure. Get automated with BizPay, an integrated payroll and HR solution powered by MC Systems. Contact them today. The time by MC Systems is
5 minutes after 7.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Christmas in a trench town. The Watchman, the only radio commentary of its type remaining on the air in Jamaica, covers varied topics, some controversial. But at the root is a commitment to rebranding the iconic but troubled birthplace of reggae, Trenchtown. Kudos to Sir Cliff and Nationwide FM for their support in this venture. Celebrating brand Trenchtown, the legends who called it home, and the present residents who, like all ghetto dwellers, live with hope of a transformed community and a better future. Another patron of the reggae mecca is Tommy Cowan, himself a legend of the genre and culture. And Carleen Davis, who a few years ago touched the emotions with the mega recording, Santa Claus, Do You Ever Come to the Ghetto? This year, she takes it one step further with the recently released song titled Christmas in a Trench Town. This is our way of wishing you a Christmas filled with cheer for yourself and the less fortunate.
is a nice and a sweet, and everybody just a move to the beat. Hey. Christmas in a trench town, Christmas in a trench town, Christmas in a trench town. I am heaven bound. Me not go commit no crime. What is yours, not mine. Let's celebrate with gold mine. Here we Santa Claus, swing one time. Hey. Bob Marley and the Wailers on First Street, Delroy Wilson on 2nd Street, Junior Tucker, Dean Fraser, 4th Street. Hey. Alton Ellis step on 5th Street. Hey. Christmas in a trench town. Reggae music, I enter the sound. Hey. Christmas in a trench town. Everybody gather round. Arise, arise, trench town. Arise and shine. Arise, trench town. Arise, arise, trench town. Arise and shine. So if you come and trench town and you start to move around, Almighty God is on your mind. Because of His love, it's Christmas time. Christmas in a trench town. A reggae music just a rock the town. Hey. Christmas in a trench town. Seasons of love and harmony. Christmas in a trench town. A reggae music just a rock the town. Hey. Christmas in a trench town. Seasons of joy, love and harmony. Christmas in a trench town. A reggae music just a rock trench town. Christmas in a trench town.
Save Trench Town? You save Jamaica. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trench Town, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Calling all tradesmen, small contractors, skilled workmen, and small entrepreneurs. Whether you want to start or expand your business or get equipment for your projects, Total Tools will help you tool up and expand your business. Get up to $500,000 to borrow, up to 2 years to repay, and interest rates as low as 3.99%. Come for your loan to get your tools. Offer ends June 2025. Visit Total Tools in Kingston, Ocho Rios, and Drex Hall to get a loan for every tool and every trade.
Are you ready for real rewards this Christmas? Reel in big cash prizes and big appliances with Rainforest Real Rewards. On now at supermarkets island-wide. Enter to win cash prize of $500,000 or a stove or fridge. Any 2 Rainforest products, including shrimp, and enter online or WhatsApp between November 1 and December 15. Each receipt is an entry. Enter as many times as you want. This Christmas, win real rewards. Only with Rainforest. Authorized by the BGLC. Terms and conditions apply.
Eleven minutes after 7 o'clock, we're going to go to
the United States.
Yes, where the White House is defending President Joe Biden's unconditional pardon of his son Hunter, after repeatedly insisting he had no plans to do so. The White House press secretary says Biden had pardoned his son, who was facing sentencing later this month in 2 federal cases to shield him from potential persecution. by the outgoing president's political foes.
The sweeping pardon covers any potential federal crimes that the 54-year-old Hunter may have committed over the course of a decade. Republicans have criticized the move, with the president-elect Donald Trump calling it an abuse and a miscarriage of justice. The Democratic president issued the pardon on Sunday evening before heading off on an official trip to Africa.
In June, Hunter Biden became the first child of a sitting U.S. president to be criminally convicted after a jury in Delaware found him guilty of 3 charges of lying about his drug use and a form when buying a handgun. In September, he also pleaded guilty to federal tax charges that included failure to file and pay his taxes, tax evasion, and filing a false return. MSNBC has more in this report.
Joining us now, NBC News Washington managing editor Carol Lee. I also want to bring in former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst Paul Butler. Here with me in studio, New York Times national reporter and MSNBC contributor Jeremy Peters. So, Carol, the start of January 1st, 2014, not a random choice, clearly. Walk us through the significance of this timeline and what it covers.
Sure, Chris. It starts in 2014, and that is the year when Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma, as you were just showing, the Ukrainian energy company that had, while his father was vice president, and that was something that came under very sharp scrutiny by Republicans. And if you then go through the timeline all the way up until December 1st, 2024, what happened during that time is Hunter Biden's business dealings with China were under scrutiny. It's when he did the actions that he was convicted of in terms of the gun charges and the tax evasion. And so all of that together, this is the time frame that has been under the microscope and in the political sphere and attacked by Republicans for years. And so what you're seeing is the president deciding to take that time frame and basically try to inoculate his son from any future investigations that might take place. And if in a new Trump administration, for instance, we know that there was concern that within the president's family and his closest allies that there would be new targeting of Hunter Biden in a second Trump administration. And we also know from our own reporting that the pardon is something that the president actually never really took off the table. He said publicly he wouldn't do it, but our reporting shows that he hadn't ruled this out. And so it was always an option because he was facing potential jail time. And that was something that the president was very concerned about. We know from our own reporting and others that Hunter Biden is a very strong focus for the president, just in terms of how much he thinks about him and worries about him because of his history with addiction. So all of that now has added up to the White House on the defensive over this decision, not just the decision to do it, because it is a reversal, but also the justification that the president is putting out there, this was political and really taking a parting shot at the Justice Department in his final weeks in office.
Yeah, well, something that is putting a lot of Democrats, Jeremy, they feel in an awkward position, to say the least. But it does go beyond the cases, I think, just that obviously Hunter Biden has been prosecuted for. Some of the other things that Republicans have suggested that he should be investigated for. And I did think it was notable in the statement that Joe Biden said as a father and president in that order.
Mm-hmm.
He said father
first. Exactly. And this is a father who was worried about his son, who's suffered greatly through addiction, whose sobriety, like anyone's, is always very tenuous. And he did probably what I would say is the least surprising thing of his presidency.
Really?
I saw this coming a mile away. I mean, even though he issued very strong denials, oh, no, it's not on the table. I mean, it just seemed like such a no-brainer, because what was he faced with? Talking about a pardon for a couple days worth of a news cycle, or dealing with his son potentially being the subject of congressional and FBI and Justice Department investigations for years and years to come. This ensures that we won't be dealing with any of that unless, of course, there's something Hunter did that falls outside the scope of this 10 years. But this allows the country to just move on from the Biden family saga, which has been, let's face it, pretty messy. And once Biden leaves office on January 20th, I think we'll probably just move on.
Paul, even if Republicans still talk about Hunter Biden legally anything that falls under those dates, he's protected, right? That this is within the purview, not just of this president, but any president to do exactly this.
Yeah, so during the 10-year time expanse, Hunter Biden has a get-out-of-jail-free card, including for crimes that he hasn't been charged with. I think a lot of people can sympathize with Biden as a father. When a family member is locked up, sometimes their loved ones feel like they're doing the time on the outside while the inmate does the time on the inside. But there's a whole process for how someone applies for clemency at the Justice Department. They're supposed to go through the Office of Pardon Attorney, which then does this extensive background check to see if the person has actually expressed remorse and is rehabilitated. And even then, almost nobody actually gets a pardon. So, Chris, President Biden completely circumvented this process, and he's not focused on Hunter's remorse. And he's saying that Hunter should never have been prosecuted in the first place. And as you know, this grant of clemency is extraordinarily broad.
Yeah, President Biden, Paul, as the Washington Post points out, joins a very short list of presidents who have absolved family members. I mean, Donald Trump did pardon Charles Kushner, who is an in-law. Bill Clinton pardoned his half-brother Roger, although both had already served their terms, right? So this was after they had been convicted and they had served their sentence. No net has been cast this wide, except obviously arguably Nixon, and that was not a family situation. Does this set a precedent? And what does it mean going forward, do you think, potentially?
So if Donald Trump wants to pardon the January 6th defendants who've been convicted in court and are serving time, I think politically this makes it easier for him to do that. If Donald Trump wants to pardon himself for anything that he might be prosecuted for, or anything that he might have done, I think this makes it easier for him. Of course, President Biden says the difference with Hunter is that Hunter is the victim of a political prosecution. It's true that the Justice Department technically prosecuted Hunter, but the actual prosecutor, David Weiss, was a holdover from the Trump administration. Merrick Garland made him a special counsel, so he has a lot of authority to prosecute cases as he sees fit. But that does give some credence to President Biden's concerns that his son is being unfairly targeted. The reality is that the gun case that he was charged with, those charges are rarely brought as standalone charges. They usually are accompanied by something more serious. And Hunter paid back his back taxes and any fees and penalties. So the department typically doesn't bring those cases as well. But at the end of the day, Chris, Hunter Biden was convicted in the gun case by a jury of his peers, and he pled guilty in the tax case. So if he really thought he was the victim of selective prosecution, why didn't he try to continue to fight that in court? Some people will say if he knew his daddy could get him off, there wasn't any reason to go through the legal procedure.
Well, Jeremy, Hunter Biden, his pardon stands out for a lot of reasons. One is that, and your paper has written about this, that he has not granted a lot of clemency. Back in September, they wrote, no modern U.S. president, going back to Richard Nixon, has had a clemency rate so low. I wonder if that gives us any insight into what he might do in his last couple of months, or have you heard anything about other potential pardons by Joe Biden before he leaves office?
Well, I think we know from history that these things tend to come at the end of a term. So in a few weeks, we may know a lot more. I think what this pardon can tell us about the future actually applies not to Joe Biden, but to Donald Trump. And always, I think, Donald Trump was going to issue pardons that were going to be for his political benefit. They were going to be colored by his sense of persecution and the persecution of his followers. So I'm talking about things like the January 6th rioters. He probably was always going to pardon them. Now he's just going to cite the Hunter Biden pardon as an excuse for that. So it makes it a little bit more convenient for him, but I think it probably didn't change anything that Trump was going to do or not do.
Can I just ask a very basic question, Paul, and I'm out of time, but if you're pardoned, does that mean you no longer have a criminal record?
Yes, it does. It means if you're asked, have you ever been convicted of a crime, you can say no. A pardon is different from an expungement. An expungement means the case completely goes away. A pardon means that you acknowledge that you broke the law or could be charged with breaking the law. But in the eyes of the law, it's like you were never charged at all.
That report from MSNBC. Yeah? What do you make of it?
Well, I can't fault the president for looking out for his son as a father, but it does raise some serious questions and the implications for the future as to he had been quite vehement about the fact that he would not essentially put his hand on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's went back on that word now at the late hour. Giving his reasons, I suppose, as a father, would you not do anything in your power to get your daughter out of trouble? Or would you leave them to face the music, Mr. Hughes? There's a serious question.
And in particular, the circumstances of this matter, yes, and the dynamics at play. You have a president-elect coming who was brave enough, transparent enough to tell you exactly what he's going to do. Biden didn't, yes? And he's now forced to face the reckoning that, listen, when you sit down and think that Trump says he's going to pardon the criminals who attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, yes? And Hunter Biden is going to go to prison for much lesser charges. I don't have a problem with Biden doing what he has done. Yeah? And that is it for me. Yeah? But Trump is going to let off hardened criminals.
To me, Mr. Hughes, I think it just comes down to the fact that the U.S. politics has so degraded that I don't think any political party at this point can claim to be the reasonable party.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point it has become a mask-off moment where I think the political institution in the United States realize now they're in an all-out fight.
I don't know. They're in an all-out fight at the gutter in terms of the values and the standards. Yes, the integrity in government. That's all gone. You will see it all going in front of our eyes. Yeah? And we ain't seen nothing yet. That 32 is going to burn.
Well, but let me put it to this way, Mr. Hughes. Would you expect this, or would you tolerate this kind of behavior for a politician in Jamaica?
What kind of behavior?
Well, let's say the Prime Minister had the power of pardon, which he doesn't. He cannot pardon anybody. But imagine if the Prime Minister had that power and his wife or somebody else came up against the law and he just said, I'm going to pardon them. Would we accept that in Jamaica?
We wouldn't. They would then an almighty confrontation and fallout. What is key is that there will be no such almighty confrontation and fallout in American politics.
This is literally going to be a 9-day wonder.
Yes, because America has so declined in terms of...
We'll be on to the next salacious thing that Trump says in a week or so.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The man who is going to lead the world's premier law enforcement agency, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Patel, yes, is on record as saying he's going to mash it up. And he's going to go after journalists, anybody who crossed Trump.
Which is why Trump put him there.
And that's why Trump put him there.
Let's not make any bones about it. Mr. Donald Trump has made it quite clear that his mission over the next 4 years is righting what he believes to be the wrongs done against him.
Mm-hmm. The politics of retribution. And America is going to pay a price for it. All right, let's go to the break now. After the break, your calls, your feedback, the numbers 876-630-937124 or 876-618-8255.
Time for a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paint's 100% acrylic Ultima Plus
paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today. Tune in to Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90FM.
Is that really clip you starting?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90FM. This is Benjamin. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The time by the 1JN Passport app is
7:30. It's 7:30. As I said, we're taking your calls, and the numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Neville, you're on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, man. Good evening, Mr. Hughes and company.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, man. Neville Manning from the Hills Amoko, Mr. Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a vexed individual this evening, Mr. Hughes. And my government's credibility is on the line this evening, Mr. Hughes. The incident that happened today in Maypen, Mr. Hughes, you call it gross wickedness, Mr. Hughes. Those personnel from the Transport Authority, Mr. Hughes, I have proven, I know, Mr. Hughes, they have been inflicting cruelty and harsh things on the people of Clarendon and especially Maypen, Mr. Hughes. What happened in Maypen this morning, Mr. Hughes? Regardless of how people are trying to spin it, Mr. Hughes, the guy who drove the taxi, Mr. Hughes, he was wrong, double wrong, and triple wrong, Mr. Hughes. But the personnel from the Transport Authority, Mr. Hughes, they came and parked behind him in the Mokobus Park, Mr. Hughes, right the other side of the tax, before the tax office, Mr. Hughes. And as soon as he drove off from there, they didn't stop him, Mr. Hughes, when he was putting people in the robot taxi, then, Mr. Hughes. As soon as he drove off the taxi, Mr. Hughes, that is the time they started to chase him down, Mr. Hughes.
But you understand the concept of a sting operation, correct?
Of a sting?
a sting operation. I mean,
What do you mean?
how do you charge somebody for operating an illegal taxi if you don't have proof that they're operating as an illegal taxi?
Well, there wasn't anything as far as I'm concerned then written about it on the taxi then about taxi that's supposed to transport people. And they saw school children entering it, my friend. They saw the kids from Lennon entering the taxi. And as soon as he drove off, they drove behind him.
Yes, because at that moment when he put the school children in the vehicle, took payment for it, he had committed a crime, and at that point, the transport authority decided that he should be stopped. You understand this as a concept, correct?
No, I couldn't say no, they don't normally charge you money before. It's either the end of your destination or midway then. But they don't normally charge money, taxi operators.
All right, but you understand me. If I stop at the transport center and I say pick up one person, I've not broken the law. It has to be proven that I'm taking up multiple passengers and I am operating as a illegal taxi.
Yes.
So the transport authority, in order to prove that, has to see that you have done something to induce that they have now concurred that you have operated as an illegal taxi.
Yes.
So this idea that, oh, well, they should have picked him up before he picked up the passengers, I don't know if that can be really put forward as an argument.
But listen again now. I am speaking to you now as the vice chairman of Lennon School. The two of the kids who die are personnel I know.
Okay.
And
my condolences, by the way, because I can imagine that is quite a tragedy.
My job then as vice chairman, the chairman is not about them. So I have to visit Lennon 2-3 times a week, and the person along with the principal who does literally all the things that have to be done then, government-wise then. And I'm speaking as a dad who have 2 kids. And to know that they could have stopped from the gentleman was putting the kids in the taxi. They could have put an end to it. And they didn't do it.
But Mr. Manning, you're not listening to what Siobhan is saying, you know.
Yeah.
If they suspected that this driver was illegally operating as a taxi, they could not put a stop to him until they caught him in the act.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
The law is clear. You can have all the suspicions you want, and all the stories and reports that they get say yes, he might do it. Not until they actually see him doing so do they have a case.
Yes.
And that is why they moved when they saw him. Yes. Put into the vehicle. Hold on, let me finish. Put into the vehicle the 4 children. Yes? And what I would love to hear is whether or not what we are hearing from ACP Mackenzie, that they stopped, they did not pursue him when they realized that he was fleeing, trying to get away.
Mr. Hughes.
Did they or did they not?
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
I'm Neville Manning from Moko, Ladder's daddy.
Mm-hmm.
You get me?
Yes,
and
I know.
I'm saying to you now, I'm speaking from a point of credibility. I'm asking you to send your journalists into the Mokobus Park tomorrow and talk to the other taxi drivers and hear what happened, Mr. Hughes.
What happened?
They chased it. When the gentleman drove off, Mr. Hughes, from the bus park, he drove through Brands Crescent and various Place Street, Mr. Hughes. So it's coincidentally...
With them chasing him?
Yes, it's coincidentally that they were there. Every street he entered, Mr. Hughes, they were there with him until the point of the accident. Mr. Hughes, that couldn't be coincidence.
So what you're saying, what we're being told by the police, as in it was the ACP Mackenzie told us, that they did not chase him when they realized that he was trying to flee. Yes? As is their policy, they didn't chase him. They ceased chasing him, according to Mackenzie, ACP Mackenzie. They alerted other units in the area. Yes? And he was off on his way trying to move away. But you're telling me now the ground is saying that is not so. That's what you're saying.
You are a credible journalist, along with your personal, Mr. Hughes. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Hughes, the offering is dear, Mr. Hughes. Send your journalists to the Mocha Bus Park tomorrow, Mr. Hughes, and even along the point of the accident on the Bustamante Highway. And you'll hear if those persons were not within the reach when the accident occurred, Mr. Hughes. Send your personnel, Mr. Hughes, to tomorrow, Mr. Hughes.
Mr. Manning, you're telling me you have been in the area, have you?
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
And the word, and Mr. Manning, hold on now. Yes? And Mr. Manning, yes. You are convinced. You weren't there this morning when it happened, were you?
Not on the spot.
Good.
But I came there less than 15 minutes after the accident occurred.
And you're telling me that they chased him, the police and the transport authority were chasing him.
The transport personnel, Mr. Hughes.
Were chasing him.
Anything about the police? I said the transport personnel.
Yes.
Who drove out after he left the park. Were within reach of him after the accident.
No. I want you to be clear. They chased him out of the park. They went behind him after he made a dash out of the park. Okay?
No, he didn't make a dash, Mr. Hughes. He drove off.
Drove off. I mean, the vehicle. The vehicle drove off, and they went in pursuit.
Out the bus park.
And they went in pursuit of him.
Yes, after he drove out.
And they chased him right up until the point of the accident.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
How far away? Hold on, man. How far away from the park the accident occurred?
It occurred below the Glenmuir stoplight.
When we reached the
Glen on the Bustamante Highway, and maybe about 10-15 chains after you leave the Glenmuir stoplight down on that road there.
But that's quite a distance from the bus park, though.
That's what I'm saying to you. It's not just from here to a few chains, Mr. Hughes. If you want to check it how the crow flies at the train line, Mr. Hughes, that would be at least a mile or maybe a mile and a half by road. Or if you want to check it by the measurement, they say how the crow flies, it may be about a mile, Mr. Hughes. From the point where he left out to the point of the accident. I'm telling you, Mr. Hughes.
So you're saying, Mr. Manning, if he was not being chased by the transport authority people, the accident would not have occurred?
No, I'm not saying it would not have occurred, Mr. Hughes. But you have a lot of careless drivers on the road. I'm not saying it would not have occurred. But at the point of the accident, he was being chased and he was trying to run away. And by overtaking a vehicle, he had a head-on collision with a vehicle coming from the other way.
Neville, I appreciate where you're coming from, but you understand the fault still lies with the operator because he was operating illegally. He knows he was operating illegally. And rather than take responsibility for that, not only did he try to escape from that potential punishment, once the accident occurred, he fled the scene and then he tried to flee the country within hours of that
but
happening.
I'm saying to you again, those two wrongs, does it make the police right?
But hold on, but hold on, Mr. Manning, and this is where I part company with you now. You're either on the side of the law or not. The side of the law is he should not be engaged in the illegal movement of people. 2, the police come after you, you stop.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
You stop. And if he had stopped, we wouldn't be here this evening.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
So therefore, Mr. Manning, do not support lawless behavior. It is wrong.
Mr. Hughes,
and this is a kind of equivocation. Hold on, sir. This is a kind of explanation and give them a blind mentality. Yeah? That we keep on digging ourselves deeper and deeper into this abyss.
Yeah, man. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, Mr. Manning.
September gone, I was 70 years of age, Mr. Hughes. I'm a law-abiding citizen from birth until now, Mr. Hughes.
Well, you need to come here and say this man shouldn't be doing that in the first place.
Mr. Hughes.
Him shouldn't be doing it.
Mr. Hughes.
And when the police indicate to him that him engaged in illegal activity, he's supposed to stop.
Mr. Hughes, I am not defending him. Mr.
Yes,
Hughes.
you are. You are.
Mr. Hughes, what I am talking about is the action, the reaction of the transport person, Mr. Hughes. I am talking about the reaction, Mr. Hughes.
But I don't hear you hold him culpable yet. Him is the major cause. And the two picking them dead.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
You don't say that. You do. You have not said that clearly yet.
I am personally saying it to you now, Mr. Hughes. He should be personally charged harshly for the death of those two kids. But the person from the Transport Authority also, Mr. Hughes, should not be let off the hook, Mr. Hughes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, you're balancing the scales and speaking like a lawful man, because it is policy, good policy, as articulated by the chairman of the Transport Authority, Owen Ellington. And what you're telling me, Mr. Manning, is something that Mr. Ellington and ACP Mackenzie need to go and re-examine. He was being chased.
But to be fair to the police, they said that even as they terminated pursuit, they heard that the accident happened within minutes of that pursuit being terminated.
That is what ACP Mackenzie told us. Yes, you are saying, Mr. Manning, that that's not so. He was being chased all along the way. That is what you're saying.
Mr. Hughes,
yes.
I'm saying to you, I don't have any sympathy for the guy who drove the taxi, Mr. Hughes, because it
you didn't sound like that.
My daughter or somebody to me.
You didn't sound like that way. You didn't sound that way.
Mr. Hughes, but what I'm saying, Mr. Hughes, there's also consequences for the action of the Transport Authority, Mr. Hughes.
I agree with you. I agree with that. But let us not fudge it, sir. We have too many lawless behavior and people on the road. Too much.
Mr. Hughes.
And it'll kill me off. It'll kill me off. It kill out two picnic today. Hold on. We must be on the side of the law. We must be on the side of the law.
I am always.
You didn't sound that. No, Mr. Manning, you never sound so.
It never sound to you that way, Mr. Hughes. I may be a bit emotional, Mr. Hughes. Because I can.
As I said, Mr. Neville, I appreciate what you're suggesting. You said you're the vice chairman at Lennon and you're going through a very difficult situation. And in situations as difficult as this, people try to find culpability. But one of the first things you came on is here, you suggested that the transport authorities harassed the taxi operators.
Mr. Hughes.
That's Mr. Campbell.
If you want to give me another minute, Mr. Hughes, I can make a reference to you. About a year or two ago, I had was to call Mr. Roland Anderson, Why? And I can tell you why. I have a stepson. His wife came from America, and his mother-in-law and his year-old daughter. And they were traveling from Moco to Mapledown by Advent Store. And two transport vehicles, Mr. Hughes, just one in front of him and one beside him. He almost had to drive down into one of those ditches, Mr. Hughes. And by the time he stopped the vehicle, Mr. Hughes, they just run up beside him, drown the key out of his vehicle, Mr. Hughes. And the young lady had to take out her passport and document his wife to show she's here on a few days holiday, the baby from America and his stepmother, Mr. Hughes. And it was at that point, Mr. Hughes, they were actually harassing the guy, saying he was roboting. And I had to call Mr. Roland Anderson. I got his number. And made a report to him about their behavior. So I'm not saying a lot of the taxi personnel are not in discipline. Most of them. But that does not give the transport person the right to do as they like on the road without any control, Mr. Hughes.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That
does not give them the right, Mr. Hughes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Manning. I would love to hear from somebody else now, Mr. Manning. Mr. Manning, I give you more than 15 minutes. Goodbye. Have a good night. Thank you. Dave.
Evening, Siobhan Cliff.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, sir.
I'm calling regarding the Marby Urban Center. Now, we have a little issue. Business operators, at the inception of this project, met with Factories Corporation, and we were instructed to express our intent for space in the urban center. As it is now unfolding, we are aware of persons saying that they have space allotted to them, and everyone that these spaces are allotted to is from outside of St. Thomas. No one that expressed interest has been contacted. I have emailed them. It is a process and it's transparent, but I have friends in certain quarters, and they're telling me, Dave, I have 2 spaces, I have 3 spaces. No, they assure me no one has a lease agreement. However, outside of a lease agreement, someone or some persons have some form of understanding that they have space allotted to them. Why is St. Thomas business persons being sidestepped, forced out, and all of these persons being allotted space in the urban sector is from outside of
What's the evidence you have for this? Tell me.
The evidence?
Yeah.
The evidence is that I personally and others, 7 others that I know of, expressed interest. None of us have received. I have emails from them telling me that it's transparent.
Hold on. I'm trying to follow. So, as a businessman, you have applied to be considered for space.
That's correct.
And you have followed the procedures to apply, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
When did you apply?
From 2002 or 2001.
2002, 2001.
When the whole project just got started, they told us to submit our applications. We were receiving emails, correspondence from them.
You want to pause and think about that again? 2002, 2001, there was no thought of the Morant Bay Urban Development Center.
Yes, sir. In 2002, yes, there was. I have an email. I can forward all of them to you.
2002?
2002
or
is
2012?
When the whole plan started. Yeah.
Or 2012?
2000. No, man, just 2000. Oh, sorry, 2002. 2022.
There you go. Okay. Because I know the whole idea of a Morant Bay Urban Center was not around in 2002.
2022, Cliff. My.
Yeah, so it's 2022. You applied, and which agency you applied to?
Factories Corporation.
Right, and you were told
that emails we would be contacted and the whole 9 yards. To this point, the last correspondence I got from them about 2 weeks ago, it's a process and it's transparent, and the urban center is what they're doing. They have to ensure that the businesses that are going there would serve the community. Now it's going to serve the community and leave existing business operators out in the cold.
So you have some questions for the Factories Corporation?
Factories Corporation. The questions
need to tell you. Go ahead.
Has anyone? Well, we know that they've from the inception they came out and said KFC would be there, and Burger King would be there, and whoever else, High-Low would be there. Now, the question
plus the courthouse,
plus all of that. No, we're talking about the retail. Has space been allotted to anyone? The second question is, has space been allotted to anyone from St. Thomas? Those are the two questions. I'm pretty sure that none has been allotted to anyone from St. Thomas so far. Now, if this urban center is supposed to be opened in December or January or in close proximity, and no one has been given the opportunity to plan ahead, to say, well, okay, yes, I know about, I'm going to be getting space, I need to get all the machinery or all the fixtures that I need. Everybody else is given that opportunity. So what is the case is that I guess we might be given the what left.
Well, I think you have asked some pretty fair, reasonable questions. Yeah, and it's for the Factories Corporation of Jamaica to respond now. You said you can speak for yourself and at least 7 other business operators in St. Thomas?
That's correct. Yeah.
What kind of business do you want to do there?
But I submitted to open a pharmacy or a supermarket, which I have existing businesses.
Right. And where the 7 other persons we are familiar with, what kind of business they want to do?
Liquor store, haberdashery, restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I think as we can ask if the Factories Corporation on what basis they are making their decisions. Yes?
No.
Because we know this thing going on, you know. Who you know.
The highest bidder sometimes is what just wins out in the
Well, apparently no one from Centre. No, we appreciate that they want to uplift the parish. But what benefit is there for the existing store owners? For one,
and certainly, let me just quickly add, the fact that you are an established business operator in St. Thomas would be considered a factor, but that is not the ultimate factor.
No.
You appreciate that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay, but
so we have some questions to
an
ask.
assurance was given to us
that
we would be given priority treatment. We would be given access to the urban center, but for them to just decide that, okay, everything is allotted to interest from outside of the parish?
No, nobody has said that yet.
Nobody
has said that. Nobody has said that. You have come to that conclusion.
Yes, I have come to that
exactly
conclusion based on what I am seeing.
Well,
what the Factories Corporation now needs to do
is
to let me know and the other business operators know that there is a fairness in the process and that we are indeed not being sidetracked. No, you come and you give us the road, fine, yes, we appreciate the road. You give us the urban center, fine, yes. So what is it? No one existing there is supposed to benefit the business community. No one from
and
the
I'm saying
don't
jump to that conclusion yet. You may be surprised. Let us put the questions to the Factories Corporation and give them a chance to respond.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Madam Producer, we have a segment for tomorrow. The Morant Bay Urban Center is in demand, and this gentleman who claims to be from St. Thomas, I don't know you, sir, is alleging that those who have been given spaces at the urban center are all outside of the parish. Okay.
Well, based on this from the FCJ, the Morant Bay Urban Center is presently overbooked. To date, interest in this project includes 2 BPO companies, a university, supermarkets, and multiple fast food restaurants, along with other government and private sector entities. The intention is to have a BPO company as a major anchor at the location, with 40 to 50,000 square feet being reserved for this sector. And that was from November 2020.
Okay. All right. You have to be careful or you jump to conclusions in these matters. Carl, good evening.
Hold on. Well, listen if I'm HK for you. Hold on. Yeah, well, look this.
You can't find yours.
Yeah, man.
You can't find yours. Yours date back to the 19th century.
Oh, okay. All right. You're fine for me. 1967, 21st.
Oh, please, but you born 1967?
Yes, man.
Oh.
I'm a guy. Me know I'm a tree principal of a Springfield school too. Well,
you know, we might throw on Pano Chevron.
All right. Anyhow. Mr. Hughes, me hear Light B Smith. Me see Light B Smith right now. Something in the newspaper yesterday. I want to remind Light B Smith that that's why in the jump fence and the JLT to TMP. Because he couldn't take the white man did a lead him. And he jump ship and go to PMP. All right. We'll come back to the private sector. I'll show you where the private sector went wrong. And only somebody can call to it now. And it is too late to tell us if he is off of the British and the white man argument would be Keith Duncan. Only somebody could have tell we say we must And it's too late now. Too late. Mr. Duncan, keep where you are. Don't say nothing into this, Mr. Duncan. Both the JLP and the PMP respect Keith Duncan. Can tell you that. Highly respect for that man, Keith Duncan. But when a person like a light beast to me, them a thought no, it don't make no sense.
Carl,
Yes,
Carl, you are here in the service of your beloved party.
Yeah, man.
Aren't you?
Yes, man.
I think your valuable use of airtime would be better spent highlighting the successes of your party in government.
3.4%.
That is a
unemployment.
that is a big success. If you spend more time pointing to the fact that never before in the history of this country have we had such record low unemployment. The only previous time we have had unemployment so low in Jamaica was in 1834, the end of slavery.
Then you did born at the time, Mr. Youth?
No, me read about it.
Oh, okay.
1834, the slavery, when it ended. Yes, that was when we had such record low unemployment numbers.
So Mr. Youth,
that is what you should be focused on getting the message. Then that's how you respond to them. Don't go down the road about the race card. No bother with it. No bother with it. You're not going to get any support. You're not going to be facilitated here.
No, you're wrong, Mr.
You're not going to get any support here. May I tell you that? Yes. So if you want to continue to use this medium, don't come here with no race card. We're not into the race-based politics.
All right, Mr. Hughes, let me ask you something, Mr. Hughes. If Mr. Hughes, when Mr. Golden did go around the whole country, then he reach all in America, did organize things. If the private sector, then they come out and say to him, Mr. Golden, hold on little. Wait till the IC give out that thing say the man is corrupted. You know, for you to say more respect would I give to the private sector.
Thank you very much. We're out of time for the evening, Carl. Thank you very much, Carl.
Yes.
Good.
All right, Ms. Light.
Thanks to all of our callers, or YouTubers, or WhatsAppers, or tweeps, or producer, Dana Davey, or technical operator, yes, sir, Mr. Damien Cunningham. Thank you all so much for being with us. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.